All right, the watch list for May 26th, which will be Thursday. Quick look at the SPY. It is up at the top trend line here, right? And it's up pretty much for a week straight. So keep that in mind when trading. And here's my list, all right? These are what I'm going to be watching tomorrow. Remember, I am in cash every night and looking to make money on stuff on my list the very next day and back to cash. So I don't have any overnight exposure. So that's, some of you might look at some of these charts and say, well, that's not a great long-term setup or whatever. I'm looking for money tomorrow. That's just that simple. So, and speaking of that, I'm not in love with this one, SYNC. We had on watch today. Never gave me a trigger. I had said that it was kind of interesting over 310, but one caveat is I don't take that in the opening 5 minutes, and you can see why, right? It broke yesterday's high and then sold off. Having said that, it actually closed fairly strong. There it is on 15s. Here it is on the daily. So this is still a decent candidate. Remember, this had 25 million shares on the gap up day on the news with AT&T. So this is a decent candidate for a nice move one of these days. And as I always say, it doesn't cost me anything to have it on a chart. LGCY, very nice move, and it's really been flagging ever since. A little bit of extra volume today, closing pretty close to its highs. It might push through the 200-day and try to break out tomorrow. Oil's pretty strong. That's a low-priced oil stock. You can see there's USO that I use to gauge oil. That's pretty strong. So, and that also, excuse me, that one I've been watching, ORIG, nice little pop today. So that tends to, LGCY tends to move with that one. So let's watch that one tomorrow. SRPT. I didn't get a trade in this one today, even though I had it on watch, and here's why. It gapped up right. If a stock takes off at the open that I'm watching as a gap play, I just don't take it. It has to meet certain parameters. And then, I mean, look what it did. It just spent the next several hours doing kind of a rounded bottom there, and then very close to the end of the day, breached the morning high. To me, that's, just an untradeable event. Anywhere long in here just feels like guessing, and short too. So I only take stuff that should work for me right away. And so SRPT never met those parameters. Having said that, now at the close of the day, you've got a big volume spike and a close near the highs, another potential catalyst on a break of these recent highs. So it doesn't look bad. So we'll watch it again tomorrow. Maybe we actually catch a nice setup tomorrow. CCXI, it's really choppy, but you can see very nice support the last few days in this 425-ish area. And then today, a little spike. Let's go to 15-minute candles. Most of the pop happened early, and then it's straight sideways. That's, again, no tradable events there for me, but it's still worth watching. You've got this high, lower high, lower high still. If this can get going back up over 460, it might start knocking down what I call these dominoes here. And you've got, pretty good support below. So let's keep our eyes on CCXI, even though when you look at the daily, doesn't really stand out. It is a recent high flyer, and I try to populate my lists with those. WLL, Whiting Petroleum, so that tell you what space it's in. Nice volume spike today. Nice push through the 200-day. You look to the left, you've got a recent high of 1309. It closed at 1268. I never want to chase. And this thing was just slow grind all afternoon, so I didn't trade it. Didn't even notice it till I did my scans at the end of the day. But maybe a red to green in this one tomorrow might get some passion. So it's a pretty interesting setup. CLRB. After the 2-day pop, it's kind of going sideways. It certainly looks great over this 2-day high. If it can get through 4 again, maybe. And this is what it looks like on an intraday basis. Didn't really do much of anything. No trades in this one today, but it kind of curled up there at the end of the day. So it goes on watch, right? Hopefully we'll get a nice low-risk setup in it. SPEX. Kind of a weird chart here. You had the huge spike. Today you had a small gap up and sold off. So I just put this on bounce watch. And when we switch to 15s, you kind of see what I mean. This one put in its high in the opening 15 minutes on the gap up day. And the same thing today. Put in its high in the opening 15 minutes. Kind of finding support here. Between 260 and 270. So this is, it's a decent setup for a possible low float spike tomorrow. Again, when you look at the daily, it's just weird. But being a day trader, you know what? Let me go back to that real quick. Being a day trader, SPEX, you don't want to turn your back on something that gapped up and this one opened at 330 and went all the way to 469. And now it's been selling ever since. You don't want to turn your back on that and just forget about it, because you could get a secondary move in that one. So definitely got to have something like that on a watch, really for the next several days. VNET just decimated. I mean, this thing just boom, straight down, then it had a gap up, and then down again, and then a bounce, and now it's really getting fast to the downside again. Let me look at the weekly chart real quick here. Nothing that compelling on the weekly as far as, a great place for support. But, after being over $15 just a few sessions ago and then straight down again, I want to watch this one for potential bounce, all right? I'm not bullish on that chart, but I am a day trader, as I said, and that one might give a nice snapback bounce. So having it on a chart, being there when the setup occurs, can make you some nice money in a very short period of time. MGT kind of rolling over here. 3 red days in a row. This is that one that made that crazy move. I am not bullish on the company. I know very, very little about it. Again, I'm a day trader. 3 days down in a row. This one might, maybe come down and pierce 2 tomorrow and then give a reversal. I mean, I could give you like 10 different scenarios, but it's got to go on a chart for a potential bounce. You have this kind of a move, and now, a 3 days lower. I'm just going to put that on bounce watch. And then lastly, OPXA. You know what? I don't even know what sparked this one, but that's a really big volume spike for this one. You can see it gave back probably a little more than half the gains. But just like I said before on the other stocks, when you get a big volume spike, a low float stock, sometimes you can get a red to green the next day. Yeah, and if you can make 30 cents on a $3 stock, that's 10%. That can also happen in 5 minutes if you're ready and you get the setup. Okay, so keep that in mind. I don't like the topping tail, but it doesn't mean I take it off my radar. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it at that. We will watch for we'll make a list of gappers together in the morning as well. Hopefully find some nice trades there. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.